Hello, everybody. Welcome into this week. It's week 11, and this is week 11, Fireside Friday. And I have a very special guest who I got to meet in person in Canton, Ohio for the Fantasy Football Expo. Joining me today is Kelly Singh, or better known as Kelly in Phoenix. Kelly, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm super great. I'm like getting all adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm doing great. It was so fun meeting you in person. Hopefully my mic's not too echoey in this room, but
No, you sound great.
fabulous. I'm excited to be here. We've been trying to plan this for a while, and here we are.
We got it. We got it together. For everyone who is not an avid follower of mine, what are you doing? Hello. I'm just kidding. For anyone who has not joined Fireside Friday before, this is just my own fun little show. I am a fantasy football analyst, writer, whatever you want to call it, for the fantasy footballers. Let me just hang on a second. Let me take a deep breath. The fantasy footballers, Fantasy Pros, NBC Sports Edge, as well as FTN. If you are watching this on the video streams, you can see those logos right up there. And this is my own personal show that I like to do. And we go over some prize picks, over unders. We go over Underdog Pick Ems. If you have not signed up for Underdog Fantasy yet, head on over to underdogfantasy.com and use their promo code SML. That's me right there. See those letters behind me? SML, like Stepmom Lauren. You get your first deposit of up to $100 matched. So it helps you out with free money. Helps me out too. Makes me look good in front of Underdog, which we always like. And it's very simple to do. It's just easy over-unders. We're going to go over our lines we have set for week 11, which I am really, really excited about. But before that, Kelly, I do have a few little admin pieces I'm going to do. Slight mix-up for the giveaway. So I'm moving the Jerry Jeudy signed mini helmet to November. And then I have a winner for the T. Higgins football already. You know who you are. So I'm going to send that off to you at the end of the month. The Jerry Jeudy mini helmet is up. The person who won it is actually in England. And the amount it would cost for me to ship it over to England is pretty ridiculous. So I am sending him an Amazon gift card. He was happy about that anyway. But we still have a signed Jerry Jeudy mini helmet up for grabs, y'all. So it's easy to get in. All you have to do is sign up for my website, stepmomlauren.com. Very easy. Subscribe to my website. It is free. Every time I post content on my website, it automatically notifies you. You can also share this tweet, share this Facebook post, like and comment on the YouTube channel. Any interaction is great. That's the whole point of the giveaways. I'm trying to increase my audience, increase my relationship with you fine people. Yeah. And you can also use that promo code SML at Underdog Fantasy. You can also use my promo code at Trophy Smack, because I have my own personal promo code, which is SML, and you get 50% off a beautiful championship ring with the purchase of a trophy or a belt. So we're getting close to crunch time when it comes to playoffs. So now is the time to start planning for how you are going to be A, rewarded, or B, reward that person that comes into first place. Remember, SML, when in doubt, it's a promo code. I've got links to everything except Trophy Smack in the link in the description of this video, because I'm a jerk and I forgot to put it in there. I have like a list of links I have in there and I just completely forgot to put Trophy Smack in there. But speaking of Trophy Smack, Kelly, why don't you tell everyone what you do? In case they're not familiar with you, follow her, Kelly in Phoenix.
Yeah, of course. My day job is the VP of marketing at Trophy Smack. I have been with them since April, and I love it very much. I work 2 weeks out of every month here at the Trophy Smack headquarters in Orange, California. And then I spend the rest of my month with my family in Phoenix, Arizona. And I guess in my spare time, I do DFS and sports betting. I do DFS with Team Riser Fall. And if I might give myself a little plug, you can use code KIP at checkout at teamriserfall.com and get your own personalized DFS advice, $10 off your first month. And it's not just me, there's a whole team of people. So it's really exciting. I've been writing an Underdog article, but kind of fell off the wagon with a brand new product launch here at Trophy Smack. But that's my biggest outlet, followed by Women of Fantasy Football and Club Fantasy. It's Women of Fantasy Football is a ongoing movement throughout the year, but our big push is in August. You can still support Women of Fantasy Football by watching Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time for the Sneaky Flex, where I have been mentoring 2 7-year-old girls to give start-sit advice.
I love it. And those two are such sweet girls. I had the pleasure of interviewing them when I was working with women in fantasy football before. I had to tell Josh and Faith, like, I'm dying. Like, my brain is melting out of my head. I can't do it anymore. And they were so sweet, but you are so much better at it than I am. So I am so glad that you are a part of that movement. Remember, it's not an event, it's a movement. We actually had our own panel over in Canton, Ohio for the Fantasy Football Expo. Standing room only. It was a fantastic turnout.
Yeah, it was.
And we get a bigger room next year. Thank goodness.
And more time.
Yeah, more time, like, for sure. So, I mean, it's going to be awesome next year. I am so excited. But we're enough about next year. Let's talk about this year. So it's week 11. Kind of hard to believe, Kelly, that we are heading into literal crunch time when it comes to making that push for the playoffs. And you know what I found so often is people are like, oh, I'm 3-7. I hate fantasy football. So what? A, don't give up on your team. Okay, A. And B, all right. So redraft fantasy is not, you're not loving it right now. I get it. That doesn't mean you have to completely shut off fantasy football altogether. Sign up with Kelly's website. Go ahead and get some DFS advice, get some skin back in the game, and also head over to prizepicks.com, head over to underdogfantasy.com and put in your picks. It's over under. It's super simple. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the slide here for you, Kelly, and these are your 5 underdog picks that you have. Now, for everyone who's not familiar, we call this like a parlay, if you will, a 5-leg parlay. That is the max. You don't have to do 5. You can do 2, 3, 4, 5 if you want. 5 is normally harder to hit so that the payouts are significantly bigger, but you can still win money on like a two parlay with $5. All right, cool. And if you have 3, you can start insuring it so that if you miss 1, you still get some money out of it. It's really cool. It's really easy. So again, without further ado, let's go ahead and put yours up here, Kelly. And I'm going to have you walk me through. Oh, let me just get rid of, where's my brand? Hold on. I got this. Whoop, there we go. So we can see the whole thing. Walk me through this because I actually looked at very similar lines to you, although I ended up picking some different ones, but some of them were kind of the same. So walk me through this, walk the people through this and explain explain yourself, Kelly. I'm just kidding.
Yes, of course. First, I'd like to say by the time I logged in to Underdog today to make my picks, there were no Arizona Cardinals picks available in Pick Em. And sometimes that happens. One literally disappeared before my eyes. So lines change, or I'm not exactly sure that all of the ebb and flow, but be aware that you may not see your favorite team or your favorite player for one reason or another.
I'm going to piggyback off of you real quick.
Yes.
I was actually doing lines for I can't remember if it was the Thursday game or last Sunday. I can't remember. But like as I'm literally picking one, I get this notification like, your line has changed. And so I had almost all 5 until suddenly it disappeared down to 1. Literally within a span of about 5 minutes. I'm like, no, submit. But yes, they do change and literally right before your eyes.
They do. So there are no Arizona Cardinals. I cannot believe I left out in my intro. I'll be super fast. I just recently started doing this season, the Sick podcast with Kelly Singh, which is part of the Sick podcast network that you may be familiar with, Adam Rank's show.
Go check that out.
It's super fun.
Please tell me you gave him the hardest time possible because he's a good friend of mine. So give Adam Rank the hardest time ever and tell him it's from me. And he'll be like,
I will.
Now I get it. Now I get it. Thanks, Lauren.
We're like coffee buddies lately because of where I live and where he's teaching. So it's been a good time. I'm going to give him he's so nice. But I will say thank you to Adam for connecting me with the Sick podcast people. I digress. It's about the Arizona Cardinals. I wasn't able to make any Arizona Cardinals picks today, and that's why, if you are watching and want to give me a hard time. So, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is always good for rushing yards. I think that this one is smash the button all day long. I don't think 43.5 yards is difficult for Jalen Hurts to achieve at all. Had there even been a passing prop, I may have gone for that one as well. But there wasn't. I took the rushing prop higher than 43.5 yards.
I'm literally going to be entering your picks as you do them. So I'm not ignoring you. I am literally entering them in on Underdog Fantasy on my phone. Continue.
Okay. Justin Fields. This was a tough one. I love Justin Fields. I think that he's super talented. I think that he has the ability and has the ability to surpass 177.5 yards, but I like data, I like trends, and I didn't see the trends pointing that way. So I'm going to take the risk that he's going to be lower than 177.5 passing yards. That doesn't mean I don't like Justin Fields, everyone. It just means I wasn't a fan of that prop being higher. It probably will be very close.
Done.
Cole Kmet, the guy everyone loves to hate.
I am so mad I missed this. Like, where were my eyeballs? Because as soon as I'm seeing this, I'm like, how did I miss Cole Kmet at 29.5? What?
Right.
Oh.
He's the tight end everyone loves to hate, of course. I don't necessarily like playing two players from the same game, but I could not pass up Cole Kmet at higher than 29.5 receiving yards. He has been a favorite of Justin Fields, much to the chagrin of the Cole Kmet haters. So I was not a Cole Kmet hater, nor was I a Cole Kmet lover. I was indifferent. I was like, you know what? I love his story. I definitely said on many podcasts, I'm on the Cole Kmet train.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo. And it took a little while for it to get up to speed. But Cole
once
Kmet
it starts, watch out.
Yes, for sure. Cole Kmet with Justin Fields is a fantastic combination, and I could not pass that up. Higher, 29.5 receiving yards. The Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Lions are like so lovable. They, to me, are like the best worst team because they have all the pieces. Even Jared Goff, if you want to come at me, go for it. They have all the pieces. They get right there, and it just isn't enough. Does that mean that they suck? No, it's like when you're in a league where it's based on points for rather than your record, and you are like in last place with the most points for and the least points against.
It's the Lions. You know what's so funny about that, Kelly? It is hilarious you bring that up. My husband is from Michigan, so he is a Detroit Lions fan, and oddly enough, in one of our fantasy football leagues, it's our home league, that's exactly where he ends up. He ends up in like the bottom 2 or 3, but he has the most points for. Like it's just every week he plays against a person who has 5 or 10 more points than him because our league score is very weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like he is the embodiment of the Detroit Lions. And someone on my Wind Up Wednesday show with FDN, they asked me, aren't you embarrassed to be married to a Lions fan? And I'm like, no, because I can never disappoint him.
That's ever. True. You can never disappoint him. But also,
plus he loves me and I love him, so there's that.
When someone says something like that to me, I feel like you just don't know football, honestly, or you just have a very big bias against a certain team. It happens in DFS all the time when we give DFS picks and people say, I use Jared Goff a lot. Why would you choose him? He sucks. Okay, well, he brings me plenty of points and he's at a great price point. So I'm happy with the pick, whether or not I like the person. So that's where we are here with the Lions, although I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, and so do many, many bettors and DFS players. He gets the job done, which is why I've got him higher than 77.5 receiving points, yards, not points, yards. And then I threw in something fun here, which people may not know about, and that's why I did this for my last pick. I went over and I tapped the little tab that says rivalries rather than Pick Ems.
This is tough. These are tough.
So the rivalries get hard. And I happen to like this one because I have been a little bit of a Kirk Cousins hater, not because of his performance, but because he seems so boring, like so vanilla to me. And then somebody sent a photo of him to me with his shirt off and chains and all this stuff.
With an ice, man. It
Yes.
was amazing.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm on board, Kurt. I am on board.
Well played. Well played.
So here we are. And they are giving Dax Prescott a leg up, which is a good sign in my eyes because it shows that Kirk Cousins is a bit of the favorite here. However, it's not that much of a leg up. So I really feel good about this Kirk Cousins passing yards better than Dak Prescott. So one thing also about Underdog that I love is the higher lower somehow with some magic gets passed here in California where I'm not able to do a traditional prop bet, but I can get my fix by logging into Underdog and picking the higher lower. So if you're in a place, if you're in a place that doesn't allow props, definitely check out other sites like Underdog and see if you can get away with the higher lower because it gives you the same vibes.
It does. Trust me, you'll see me. I will be winning. I'm in 14 leagues. I'll be winning in like 13 of them. And I'm mad because I missed one of my prop bets and it's hilarious. It's fun because it gives you that skin in the game. Real quick, I just want to touch base on the rivals. We've never really talked about rivals here on Fireside Friday, so I just want to throw out where Dak Prescott has the plus 9.5. That means that Kirk Cousins has to have more passing yards than Dak Prescott's box score plus 9.5 yards. So when you're looking at that, it's not just, Kirk Cousins is going to pass more than Dak Prescott. Kind of I don't want to say a given, but that is definitely doable. So in order to kind of make it a little more even, what Underdog does is they, as Kelly mentioned, the phrase she used was give Dak a leg up. So not only does Kirk Cousins have to pass more than Dak Prescott, he has to pass more plus basically 10 yards because of that 9.5 mark there, just for everyone who is confused on that, because I did that. I did a 5-leg parlay with rivalries and I was like, why did I lose all these? This is so weird. My husband's like, it's a plus there. That means it has to be addition to. I'm like, I don't math well.
Right.
So like
me either.
If the world revolved around like me having to add, we'd all be dead. So that's why I generally stay away from the rivalries, because as soon as I get to, okay, this number is bigger than this number, but then I have to add this, then I'm done. I'm a
That's
zombie.
true.
I can't do it anymore. My brain explodes. And like the only thing I can do really quickly is a tip, because that's just move the decimal point over and times by 2. I can do that. Other than that, no. My sweet daughter is graduating with her master's from University of Florida with a master's in civil engineering. And no. She's like, oh my God, look how cool that bridge is. I'm like, you're weird. You are weird. No one looks at bridges. Of course, everyone looks at bridges. They're really cool looking.
But not in that way.
Not in that way. No. I look, is that safe? She looks like, oh my God, I think this is where the load bearing is. And I wonder what the land structure is underneath it. Like her father's in construction. So there we go.
With these rivalries and these extra points that create this spread, I guess, it's easy when they're smaller like this. And also on the flip side, I often will like them when that leg up is huge, because if you have a player that you just know is going to kill it that week, and then you see that they're getting plus points, it's hard to be like, oh, do I skip on that? I'm like, nope, give it to me. Give it to me. It's when they're like even that I'm like, or when they're like, it's not quite huge and it's not quite small, I guess is what I should say.
And that is where the rivalries do have an advantage over the lines, if you will, on Pick Ems over under, because Underdog and other websites as well, they make these lines tight for a reason. They're a company, they make money, but they also want you to have fun at the same time. So there are a few lines that they'll throw in there that aren't gimmies, if you will, but they're a little bit looser, whereas some of the lines are very tight. But you can actually see in a numerical data, basically, where they think the lines are by numbers, which is another cool thing. And that what we mean by that is the points, or like plus for which player, which is pretty cool and what they do. And I've never seen another website do this other than Underdog Fantasy, which is pretty fun. Oh, and speaking of which, just a little sprinkle of caveat. I am not going to be doing Fireside Friday next week. It is the Friday after Thanksgiving. I am going to be blissfully hungover out of town on vacation, and I'm really excited. So you're not going to hear from me in that fashion next Friday. Following Friday, I will be back, and I will have some really cool information about another fantasy website, if you will. It is by a company called Bettle. And I just got done talking with the one of the founders of Bettle, and it is one of the coolest things I've ever heard of. And I'm really excited to get to know it, but I'm just going to tease that for 2 weeks from now after I download it. Licensed in 26 states already, which is really, really, really cool. It has to do with your season-long fantasy team and playing against other people and making money. Super cool. I'll leave it at that. All right. Thank you so much, Kelly. I'm going to dive into mine. And these are my prop picks. They are my prop picks, but they're with prizepicks.com. And if you do want to get your deposit matched, I don't have a promo code with them yet. Prize Picks, what are you doing? Holla at your girl. But you can use FTN, one of the networks I work for. That will also get your first deposit of up to $100 matched. Very simple. Very same idea here. We're going over unders. And I went ahead and I looked at this. And this one just kind of stood out to me. Derek Carr against Denver. I don't know if y'all know this, but the Denver Broncos defense is muy bueno. They are very, 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 very good. And one thing that Derek Carr has been doing is making some forceful decisions to some players that may not necessarily be the best idea. Not only that, he is going to be missing Darren Waller, and he is missing Hunter Renfrow, which leaves Foster Moreau, Mac Hollins, and Devontae Adams. Now, those players are nothing to sneeze at, but again, it's not his full complement. They may be keeping this on the ground, but I have a feeling that Derek Carr can be good for at least one interception. So I took him on the over on a half of an interception. The other one is, speaking of quarterbacks that are good for not being good, Matthew Stafford seems to really love it when like 300 pounds of love is coming his way. You know, he's like, bring it on, boys, let's go. And like, he gets sacked all the time. It's ridiculous. So they are playing the New Orleans Saints, who are no joke on defense. I really like this. So I went the over on 3 sacks. Now, normally with even with Underdog and with Prize Picks, I generally like to look for that half mark, preferably like a little bit lower, so that I know, you know, it's not like super huge that we have to get to. So if the New Orleans Saints only get 3 sacks, that means this is a push. But I think that they can get significantly more than 3 sacks because Matthew Stafford is missing his security binky, and that is Cooper Kupp. So there weren't any interception lines for Matthew Stafford. Otherwise, it had been like smash over. But I decided to go the defensive route, which is super fun that you can do over on prizepicks.com. And I did the over on 3 sacks for the New Orleans Saints, who are probably going to be keeping Stafford on his butt more so than he will be able to stay on his feet. I like that one. So sticking with that Bears game. Yeah, thank you. When Kelly says I'm smart, I feel real, real good about myself.
I wouldn't have thought to go that opposite route. So yeah, that was really smart.
And the other thing they have too on Prize Picks is they have tackles and assists. They have punts. They have field goals. I mean, Underdog has field goals as well. But like, it's really cool, the options they have over there. It's awesome. I love Prize Picks. I like Underdog too. They're both like, love them. But yeah, I do like looking at defenses because sometimes they're almost too obvious. So I hope this isn't one that is like a trap game, but no, with that offensive line is terrible. I don't care what a bye week is going to do for them, or not even a bye week, what the game without Matthew Stafford is going to be able to do with them, because frankly, you can put a Chihuahua back there and it's going to be the same result as what Matthew Stafford is able to do. So in fact, I think a Chihuahua might be more successful on the ground. Just saying. So moving on to staying on the ground, I'm going to go with that Bears game that we talked about before, Kelly, and I'm going to hit the David Montgomery here. And because we talked about Justin Fields, we talked about the lower on his passing yards that you had. I have the over on his rushing yards. And I think what that does is that takes away points from David Montgomery. And I think this game is going to be more of an air game than what we're used to from Justin Fields. But don't forget, Justin Fields barely throws for more than 100 yards. So even for Justin Fields, 177.5 is still high. So I would still take the under on his passing as well. But he's the runner. And I know there's no Khalil Herbert who's on IR. That does not mean that David Montgomery is going to be explosive in the backfield. He is not an explosive playability type of running back. That's Khalil Herbert. What David Montgomery does is he pounds up the middle through maybe a slight hole while defenses are jumping on his back. And he says, I don't care. Put another one on my shoulders. I'm going to get another 3 yards. That's how David Montgomery runs. It is angry. It is forceful. but it's not really shifty where he can explode with big plays. So when I saw the 61.5 line, I still think it's tight. So this one is a little risky. If you don't believe in it, I don't mind taking the over on this, but I think with game script and with Justin Fields being able to run, I wanted to take the under on this one on David Montgomery. But if you disagree, I don't mind that one either, but you're just going to have to rely on him being able to make some explosive plays, which he's really not used to doing. And don't forget, Atlanta Falcons don't have like a secondary at all.
I don't disagree with you at all on that. I actually want to create another card.
I know. I did it with yours.
I need to get into Prize Picks. I snuck a peek at Underdog because that's what I have right now. I will get into Prize Picks. Prize Picks people, don't be upset. But the line is the same within Underdog if you only want to play one. And looking at the data, I just don't see him doing more than 61.5. I don't see him doing more than 60, actually. So I think that's a good one.
I think his ceiling is going to be anywhere between 55 and 60. I think is going to be his ceiling there, just because they're going to be passing the ball. And those short passes are going to go to, like Cole Kmet. Maybe Darnell Mooney on a big play, one of those. And it's probably going to be a lot of Justin Fields moving there too. Also, who is the new RB2 for his? I cannot remember his name to save my life. Adam Rank just talked about him on
Chase Claypool.
No, the other running back.
Running back.
Yeah. Maybe I can't remember his name, but I have a feeling that he's going to be involved as well. Adam Rank is very high on him. Yes, he is a Bears fan. I understand that, but he just had him on the hype train.
Velas? Is it Velas?
No, he's a returner.
I'm mixing everything up, you guys.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. But either way, I think
every Bears player.
I can't. Oh, I'm from St. Louis too, so you'd think I'd at least have some love for Chicago.
There you go, Treston Ebner.
Treston. I said Trenton. Treston Ebner. I have a thing that he's going to be sneakily involved, annoying every single David Montgomery manager in redraft fantasy. So if you're going to go with the David Montgomery line, I think you might want to go the under on this one. But again, always go with your gut, as always in fantasy football, whether or not it's your lineup or it's these picks. And we're not throwing a ton of money at these either, my friends. Like, this is a $5 line that I have. These are supposed to be fun. You're not supposed to bet more than you can afford. My next one here is Tyler Conklin, another sneaky one that was brought up on NFL Fantasy Live here. I usually overlook Tyler Conklin. And so this kind of forced me to take a look at him. And then when in regular redraft, and then when I came over to the prop betting, I was like, man, 25.5. That is not bad, especially since the Patriots, I think, have given up the 5th or 6th most to tight ends, either in the last 4 weeks or this season. They're actually sneakily weak at tight end, although they hasn't really been exploited as much that we've been made aware of. So I liked this Tyler Conklin line at only 25.5. I mean, that's 2 receptions, actually. He can smash over on that too, especially when they're looking for big plays. If they're back, if they're 3rd and long, they're going to be looking at Tyler Conklin in that offense. Poor Zach Wilson. You will be okay, my friend. Keep it up. Keep it up, Buttercup. Chin up. Last one hurts my heart because I'm a big Alec Pierce girl, but it's Paris Campbell. Apparently he's back. I never knew he arrived in the first place, but then it's like, oh yeah, that guy's still in the league. Huh. I forgot. How weird. So, I mean, he and Michael Pittman had matching numbers last week. They both had 9 targets for 7 receptions. The only difference was Paris Campbell had 20 more yards, and they were like near or in the red zone. So Matt Ryan is basically being left to his own devices by Jeff Saturday, which I think is one of the greatest moves that could have been done in the coaching for the Colts. And Matt Ryan has eyes for Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman. Unfortunately, that means garbage for Alec Pierce. But when I saw this 36.5, again, we're talking maybe 3-4 receptions to smash over on this on the receiving yards. So I have the over on Paris Campbell here. Also, they're playing against Philadelphia. Their secondary is very stout. Darius Slay, Big Play Slay is no joke, but they can be exploited. Look at what the Commanders were able to do. I understand that's a division rival, so they play a little bit differently, but I do think that Matt Ryan will be able to exploit it, especially because there are 3 wide receivers out there, and they have Jonathan Taylor with that crazy, crazy run game. So all he needs is maybe 3 receptions to hit over on that 36.5. What do you think, Kelly?
I think that's a brilliant breakdown of the data because, like you, I wasn't quite sure when Paris Campbell had arrived, but here we are. And
I didn't believe it until like 3 weeks in a row. I'm like, well, I guess I have to believe it now. like you and Kirk Cousins. I'm on board now, Paris. I'm sorry.
I'm on board. Yeah, I think part of it is I don't have any shares of Paris anywhere, so it doesn't stay in front of my face.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
So I love hearing that. I love hearing that breakdown, and it makes me actually want to go check any waiver wires, which is doubtful, but worth looking anyway.
Always worth looking, and never know who your league mates drop because they're not as smart as y'all paying attention to us fantasy football analysts. And let me go ahead and break down my underdog real quick here before we take a few questions. Then I let you go, Kelly, so I don't waste your entire lunch break.
Oh, you're fine.
So I did it again. I went with Paris Campbell here on Underdog Fantasy. I went the over 36.5 receiving yards. That line was the same. Justin Fields, you went on the passing side on the lower. I literally copied you, except I went rushing and I went over 71.5 rushing. He has managed to rush for over 100 yards 2 weeks in a row. So even if he doesn't make 100, sure heck think he's going to get 72. So that I don't mind that at all. That's why I went under on David Montgomery and the other one as well, because you'll never want to have lines that conflict each other because neither of them are going to hit. One's going to hit, but if they're at least in tandem, both of them hit, you're solid. Next one is Darius Slayton. Speaking of, quietly producing, Darius Slayton has been a monster. And I think that he can get higher than 45.5 receiving yards against Detroit. That's it. I mean, there's really no hashtag analysis needed. It's Detroit. I mean,
defense, for sure. Yeah.
They are the absolute best on offense. They're the worst on defense, but they're always fun to watch, you know?
And
you
that's
never know
why
what's
they
gonna
can't
happen.
win. You just summed it up. Best offense, worst defense.
But they keep it exciting or nauseating, whichever side you want to be on. So again, we talked about Matthew Stafford, and I took the Saints on the over on the sacks. I don't think that without Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford can get anywhere near 232.5 yards. So I took him on the under or the lower on his passing yards. Brian Robinson, I really like what he was able to do. He got a lot of touches. Every week he's getting better and better. Remember, he got shot twice. If I got shot twice, I'd be out. I'd be like, no, I'm good. I got some potato chips and beer and I'm sitting on my couch. Peace out. But no, he's like, I'm getting better and better. Like maybe if they shot me in the butt, could I ask them to like shave a little bit of my love handles off while, while they were at it, like surgery? Like, can you just trim and tuck while you're in there? I'm already under. Why not just take it? Like every time you go through the airport, you had to go through that little thing machine. Every time I do this, because it always makes TSA laugh, I'm like, this is going to take 10 pounds off, right? And like all the ladies are like, girl, I wouldn't leave. And I was like, yes. I love making TSA laugh because everyone's always so mean to them. Either way, I really like Brian Robinson here up against Houston, who is the worst, if not second worst, against running backs. They're so porous when it comes to stopping the run. I do understand that Antonio Gibson is there as well, but Gibson is using a lot of his offensive snaps, if you will, in punt returning, and he's doing a lot of that work. So that gives Brian Robinson even more opportunity to be on the field. Plus, he's getting healthier every single week. They just came off of a huge game against the Eagles. So I like him at over 63.5. This is high. This is high for Brian Robinson, and I get it. But if there's ever going to be a game where one of these running backs blows up, it's going to be this one. And I didn't like Antonio Gibson's line, which was over 60. I think it was like 63 or something. Too high for me. I wanted to go Brian Robinson on the rushing yards, not receiving, not combined, rushing. So make sure you keep those together as well. Awesome. Well, those were my two lines. Those were Kelly's lines. Let's go ahead and pull this off so we can have a closer look at our lovely faces. Oh, Brett Thunderstruck. I love you, buddy.
I'm the boss, applesauce. So if you want to chit chat, I'm perfectly fine.
I love it, Kelly. VP of marketing. It helps to have a VP on your side. See, we can do what we want. Let's answer a few questions here. I see Brett Thunderstruck. You are one of my favorite. I should literally get this tattooed on my forehead. So when everyone asks me a question, I'd be like, here. Go with your gut. Hashtag go with your gut. I always say that. It doesn't matter what we say because fantasy football are humans, the humans being controlled by humans. Tell me about that. Anything that is predictable. It's not. It's educated guessing. That's all we can do. And somehow we get paid for it. It's amazing. All right. And the slot corner is injured. Brett, are you talking about the Philadelphia Eagles slot corner? because they also just picked up Ndamukong Suh and they picked up somebody else, which means the run game is going to be pretty tough against the Eagles coming up here. So that's why I kind of like the passing game a little more, but I'm not exactly sure who you're talking about there, Brett. So let me know. Emmanuel Lucero, you are such a champ. Thank you so much for joining me, as always. One of my favorite people to come and hang out with all the time. He is absolutely fantastic. He wants to know, Bengals or Commanders defense this week? I'm leaning towards the Bengals here. I'm leaning towards the Bengals. What do you think, Callie? Have any opinion?
I would say the Bengals, yes. I actually was on the fence about a Burrows prop. I may revisit that now that it's in print in front of my eyeballs. I'm thinking Bengals, yeah.
So this is Bro Cal. Calvin Brown, love you, buddy. He said he always likes to ask me starts and sit questions because his gut lines up with my analysis. I think he's just sucking up because he's so nice. He was the first one in on the chat, by the way. See, look, hola, SML, hola.
Oh my gosh, Emmanuel, I need to rewind. You're talking about the defense. I'm still gonna go with the Bengals, though. I just needed to rein that back in. Sometimes I only read parts of the words, but yes, I'm still going Bengals D, I believe.
It's tight. It's tight to me for sure, but I think that the Bengals have higher upside for interceptions and sacks. That's really where you're going to get some of those big points on defense. The one good thing that the Commanders have going for them is Chase Young is going to be back. This is his first week back, though. So I think that moving forward, matchup dependent on the DSTs, always matchup dependent, but they're going to be pretty strong in the next few weeks. But this week particular, I'm going to exploit that Bengals defense. And then Calvin Brown, he says, full PPR, pick 2, por favor. Elijah Mitchell, Najee Harris, Deonta Foreman, or Jamal Williams. And this is a pick 2.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a horrible person for fading Najee Harris.
I know. I was thinking the exact same thing, but I'm on the Foreman, Jamal Williams side. One, because I've been on the Lions train. I'm not a Lions fan. I just love their offense. So I'm with Jamal Williams. He's actually, even though he only had, I'm looking at 53 rushing yards against Miami there, it was 2 touchdowns and also 23 receiving yards. So I really like the versatility of Jamal Williams. And then I'm going with Foreman because on the Sneaky Flex yesterday, the Sneaky girls were all about Foreman. So I'm going to support that.
I love it. I am also sticking with Jamal Williams here because he is the red zone monster. I mean, that's what they do. They have Swift do all the work in between the 20s, unless he breaks off a huge run and scores. But when they're in the red zone, 5 zone, that ball's going to Jamal Williams almost 99% of the time. I'm actually going to maybe lean Elijah Mitchell over Deonta Foreman because he and Christian McCaffrey are almost a perfect timeshare in that San Francisco offense at this point. So I like him as well. For Najee Harris, though, Calvin, what I want you to do, he had his best game of the season, and I think he just had his best game of the season. You need to trade him now. He is literally at his highest value that he can possibly be, unless he miraculously starts playing like this every single week, which I don't think he will, not with that O-line and not with Jaylen Warren coming in and making hay. So trade Najee Harris now before this Sunday so that you can at least get that trade rolling, because this is going to be this question all the time with Najee Harris. Get rid of it, sell him high, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you can shore up your team before the playoffs and before the trade deadline, obviously. So see what you can get for Najee Harris. Maybe go for wide receiver 2, depending on how your league is working. You might want to try that route to see if you can kind of get a better piece than having to deal with the headache that is Najee Harris. Alrighty, it is 40 minutes in. Kelly, that went by super duper fast. I need to jet. My mother-in-law should be here any moment. I know, she's super fun. Although last week she did run into a chair, and poor thing has very thin skin, and she bled everywhere. Aww. It was a hot mess situation, but we got it fixed and it was fine. But hopefully no wounds this week would be super duper good. I love Mary. She's so fabulous. Or is she coming? I can't remember if she's coming this week or not. I don't know. Either way, I'm out of a cocktail. So, Kelly, tell everybody where they can find you yet again, because you are one of my favorite people to talk to.
Thank you. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. It's still around at Kelly in Phoenix. And just check out Team Rise or Fall if you like DFS and you want DFS. I also do golf props and DFS if you're interested in golf outside of football. Team Rise or Fall code KIP gets you $10 off a VIP membership. And then twice a week, actually Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm recording the Sick podcast with Kelly and Phoenix. That's me for Arizona Cardinals. And I think those are my most live projects. Oh, Thursdays, the Sneaky Flex with the 7-year-old girls I'm mentoring, where we give you 15 minutes of start, sit advice, because that's about as long as they can pay attention.
Well, they're like 7.
Yes.
And they're so cute. I love it. Thank you so much again, Kelly, for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
You should see our DMs. It's like, hey, girl, hey. It's like, hey. And it's like, wee. Like, that's how we roll.
It totally is. That's like word for word.
We're nuts. And if you have a chance, please come visit us when we're in Canton next year, because we always have a really, really good time. Everybody, again, contest deets on the signed Jerry Jeudy mini helmet. Sign up for my website, stepmomlauren.com. Share this video. Sign up with Underdog SML. That also gets you in as well. Just come and talk to me. I mean, there's no like, I'm not like a 501c3 or anything. It's kind of just random, but I just randomly pick a name and you guys get a prize. So everyone, good luck in week 11. You all are the best. Kelly, you are also the best.
Thank you.
I hope everyone is crushing their way.
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams. Here we go. Did we miss one? Oh my God, we did.
It's a late one.
Let's answer a few more questions. Darren, you have a conundrum with ETN on a bye. I know, right? Jamal Williams in running back and Swift in the flex, or Josh Palmer. No other options. Love watching you. Thank you so much. Okay, Darren. I would go Jamal Williams over DeAndre Swift. That's going to be the touchdown. It's really about the touchdowns.
Yeah.
And Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are not guaranteed for Sunday night. Both of them are hurt. They're both practicing in a limited fashion. If they do play, there is a high probability that they are going to be limited in snaps, limited participants, or they could ball out and go out. But for me, I'm going to go Jamal Williams and I'm going to flex Joshua Palmer.
All right. I just had this. I saw that and I'm like, oh my gosh, let's get it real quick.
Oh, John.
Hi, everyone.
Damn, I was late. Hello, stepmom. Hello. Fun. You guys know this starts at 3. Come on, kids. Right. And I also will repost this on my website, stepmomlauren.com. So if you sign up, you'll get notified when I repost this and I put it on the website so you guys can watch with all of your viewing pleasure. And I love it. I don't think I think oh, here we go. One more. You people are crazy. What do I think of Fields' end of season schedule? The Bears have the tough playoff schedule, don't they?
I have no opinion because this season has been so wild. I don't think there's any predicting of who's winning what. You just have to, what is it? # go with your gut, because it's been wild, friends.
Okay, do you think Sutton and Toney are a good option? I really like Kadarius Toney this week because no Mecole Hardman and no Juju Smith-Schuster. For everyone who's in a super dupe, this is for Dicer 007. Hey, what's up, Dicer? For anyone who's having a serious wide receiver situation and there's like nobody on the waiver wire in your deeper leagues, pick up Justin Watson. He is a wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, okay? Mecole Hardman out. Juju Smith-Schuster out. Kadarius Toney is going to take over for Juju. Someone is going to have to take over for Mecole Hardman, and it's not going to be MVS every single week. It's just not in his DNA to do well back-to-back weeks. Justin Watson should have a really good game. So if you're desperate at wide receiver, pick up Justin Watson. For you, Dicer, go ahead and go with Kadarius Toney. That's the one that I like out of there. And your squad is like stupid good. Like that's an embarrassment of riches. Okay, I'm finally going to let you go, Kelly. Everyone, good luck in week 11. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate all of you. Have a good one.